It's a debate that's been going on for years, the true value in getting a college education. For many students and parents, the burden of spending 4 years in college and then being in debt for decades is overwhelming, and some critics say it's just not worth it. Here to make dollars and cents of it all, we welcome collegeplanningGuru.com founder and president, Andy Lockwood. Andy, thank you for joining us today.
Right. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let me ask you something. When someone is buying a college education, what is the true cost of that college education? What are the costs that's going into that number these days?
Well, you've got tuition, which is a big component, but you've also got all these indirect costs, such as room and board. You've got other sorts of expenses like insurance and those types of things.
And so why is tuition on such the increase? Are college professors getting paid more? Is the property costing more? Because we've seen huge hikes across the board in tuition.
Right. There's a couple of components to it. The first one is many people feel it's the third-party payer system, meaning that the government is lending all this money to give access to low-income families, but in effect, that money is being used by the colleges to continue to increase. They continue to increase their costs. So,
and so, because to some extent, the consumers who are going to use the service aren't paying for it themselves.
Right, directly.
And because of that, directly, the schools feel that they could increase the costs on the government.
Yeah, that's one aspect of it.
On the universities.
On the universities, right. And the other aspect of it is they're engaged in this sort of arms race with amenities to country clubify the colleges up. So.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I went back to my alma mater, Hofstra University. When I was there, the food was fine. It was a big, main cafeteria that you went to. You go there today, it's a food court. There's a Sbarro, and there's this, and there's that, and they'll cook you sushi.
Right.
And it's great. I wish I, was back in school.
Right. Yeah. There's no more.
But that's costing something.
There's no more. It's not free. There's no more mystery meat. There's no more bug juice. It's skirt steak, it's vegan, it's gluten-free. You've got dorms that are now residences because they have, granite countertop and flat panel TV. And these are amenities that these colleges are building, $15 million aquatic facilities and athletic facilities to lure high-paying, affluent families.
Okay, so you help advise families on paying for college.
How to avoid overpaying.
And how to avoid overpaying. So to walk us through that a little bit, what are the key tips that you tell them to avoid overpaying?
Okay, great. So there's a few components to it. The first one is, what pond do you fish in? Meaning that some schools are more generous than others. So it really matters, which ones you select. The second aspect of it is, well, what do you do to get in? So now what's happening is there's so many kids who are graduating schools, and they're all taking tons of AP classes and other advanced, coursework and other activities. They all kind of look the same on paper. So what you need to do is distinguish yourself in order to get in. It's fundamentally a marketing issue. And the third thing is understanding the loopholes in the financial aid system. So if you have money saved in your child's name, for example, that is sound financial advice, but it can kill you in the financial aid formulas because it counts against you 400% more than if you had it saved in your own name. And some assets don't count against you at all.
So where do you fit in, or where do you come down on whether college is worth it or not? Because you made an interesting statement, I was reading, that the gap between college graduates and what they earn and non-graduates is closing. Then I imagine if you factor in and amortize the cost of college, you may be on the losing side of the equation.
This is probably ironic and not a great business model for a college consultant to say this, but I'll tell you, my wife and I, Pearl, we own the business. We see everyone's tax returns. We have doctors, lawyers, accountants as clients. We have auto body guys, electricians, and plumbers. More often than not, it's that second category, who may not have even gone to college at all, that is doing better in terms of how much wealth they have amassed. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't go to college. I just question whether everyone should go.
And in fairness, those people, though, may have had a better secondary education in high school, correct? It's correct to say that, or we don't know?
Arguable. I mean, they're oriented differently. But I can tell you that there's a lot of people who have college degrees that don't really need them. There are 115,000 custodians with BAs in the country. There's all these crazy statistics like that.
Yeah, look, I have a law degree. I've never seen the inside of a courthouse. So I don't know
I have a law degree also. I'm a recovering attorney.
We both are. Andy Lockwood, thank you so much.
All right.
Hi, I'm Michael Levy. I'm the owner of Minuteman Press in Levittown. And I want to talk to you about Andy Lockwood. 4 years ago, my daughter Melanie was a senior in high school, and I had chills every time I thought about her going to college. And yes, I was a little nervous about her growing up and all that, but for me, the biggest concern was how was I going to pay for it? And for years and years and years, people would always kind of talk amongst friends saying, I can't wait for our kids to go to college. And every time this conversation came up, I totally shied away because I was scared to death because I had no idea how I was going to handle it. I went to one of Andy's lectures, and by the end of the lecture, I had a much better understanding, actually a full understanding, of what I needed to do and how Andy could help me. And here it is 3 years later. My daughter is a junior now at the University of Maryland. And I've gotten through it, and Andy's helped me every year. As a matter of fact, Andy has saved me $10,000 a year. I'm self-employed, so he guided me to do what I needed to do to basically not pay retail for college, as he likes to say. And fortunately, I have a second child going to college this coming fall, and I'm not scared to death like I used to be, because I know that Andy's going to help me get everything I can to help pay for college. So I would highly recommend anyone that has the child that's going into college a couple of years ahead, and I would definitely recommend using Andy Lockwood. He has been super.
Hi, my name is John Gallagher. I met Andy when my wife and I were stressing out about sending my son to school. The paperwork was daunting, and we thought we were going to have to send him to a state school. Because we use Andy's services, which more than paid for themselves, my son now is a freshman in Villanova.
We're the Rizzutos coming to you live from our son's dorm room.
We have 3 boys that we needed to put through school in 8 years, and 2 of them are together for 4 years. And thank you to Andy's wizardry, we're able to not only get them to the schools that they wanted, we can still have dinner at night.
Thank you, Andy and Pearl. We don't know what we'd do without you.